everyone, Terry from Terry's Scrapbooks. I had some requests for a tutorial on how I made my Home Sweet Home mini album. So here it is. It's my very first tutorial, so ask as many questions as you need because I don't really know what I'm doing. I'll have a link to the original album in the description so you can refer to that if you need to. I'll make a list and have it in the video for you to see what you need. I suggest you watch the whole video through once. I know it's long, but it's a good idea to watch it all through once so you know where things are going before you actually make your album. And when you're making it, pause the video as many times as you need to and rewind and fast forward or whatever you need to get the information you need to proceed. And of course I'll answer any questions you might need. Okay, on to the tutorial. For the cover, you'll need some heavy chipboard. I usually get mine from Paper Accents. You can get, this is a whole pack of 25 sheets. For the way I do my covers, I double up the heavy chipboard. You don't have to do that, but that's what I do. So you need to cut 4 9 1/4 by 7 1/4 pieces of chipboard and 2 9 1/4 by 2 3/4 pieces of chipboard. And first, and you'll need to have some Tyvek, which is one of these envelopes that you can get. You can either use a used one or a brand new one. You can get them at Staples. Cut a piece that's 9 inches by 2 inches. And use some glue. I use glue. I like it because it gives you some play time. So you want to go right close to the edge. It's kind of important. So because this is the hinge, and you don't want it. You want it to pull, or you don't want it to pull. You want it to be right on the edge, as straight as it can be. I like to use the wet glue with the Tyvek, especially because I feel like it gets into those, grabs into those fibers really well. I also like my brayer, but that makes it go down smooth and makes it grab in good. And then you want to check to see if you've had any overflow. But see, if you don't get it close, it will pull away when the book is opening and closing, and that's why you want it to get right up to that edge with the glue or the tape if you're using score tape. And we'll just do the other one next the same way. The other thing you don't worry about warping is because it's this heavy chipboard. You don't have that warping problem that you can get with glue and paper, so you don't have to worry too much about how thick you put it on. Yeah. So you want to put it down there just about an inch or 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, I did 3/4 of an inch. Then you're going to take your spine. We'll go this way. You'll want a ruler this time. I like to do 3/8 of an inch away. The spine 3/8 of an inch away from the cover piece. Gives it plenty of room, because by the time you're loading up with paper, well, on this album it won't be happening, but other albums it does. Still, you get room enough to bend. And doing it this way makes it so you can overextend the album and it won't snap off. Check the bottom, 3/8. You can pull it off. That's why I like the glue, because you have time to play with it. If it's not perfect, you can mess around with it. Good. Now you just want to do this side the same way. Three-eighths away. Smooth it down. Check the bottom. Okay. The brayer also smooths the glue out. Gets it in those nooks and crannies really well. And I do want to put some glue under here. Just to make sure that doesn't cause trouble later. Okay. That's what it will look like. And see, this can go all the way. No worries about breaking. Then I just put the others on the top. Make it match up so it looks pretty. And here's the last one. So there, it's the cover. It doesn't take too long to dry. You could actually go on to the next step. Put this aside for a minute, because we want to take one of these pages and we're going to cut this in half, 6 inches. And you want to cover it, have at least an inch sticking out here on this side. It doesn't have to be perfect either. It'll help you later if it is. You kind of want it straight. And here's what I usually do. Use my glue again. An inch. And brayer it down. do the other side. Now there's no real up or down to this paper, so you don't have to worry about doing it upside down. Okay, now you're going to want to cut the corners off, but you're going to leave about 3/8 of an inch at the bottom at each corner. Doesn't have to be a perfect 45-degree angle. You just want it cut off like that. A bone folder. I'm going to take more glue right along the edge. This does a couple things. Of course, it glues it, but it also helps the paper bend. And you kind of work it up. That way you get it closed so it fits good. And then I'll go like this. And you go over a little on that side. Pull it down. And the bone folder works a lot like the brayer. Smooths it out. For this corner, you want to push it in just a little. And then push this part down. Okay, but don't. Now you're just going to do the top. You're going to do the same thing on the top or the other side. Pushing that part down. Pulling this tight. And let's do this part. How's that? Now do the other side exactly the same way. Okay, you should have something that looks like this. We'll go on to the next part. We'll be covering up here. So we'll need to cut a piece of this paper about 8 1/4 inches wide. And we're going to use glue again. And you just want to do this part right now, the spine. And we want to center it. It's easier with the glue on it to do it this way. Just try to get it even over the edge on both sides. Looks like about 1/8 of an inch it overlaps. Okay, just want to adhere it down to that spine part. See? Now we're going to feel for this. You can feel it there. Run your finger on it a little just to get the paper to bend. Then you take your bone folder and you crease it. And sort of push in on this side a little and crease it on the other side. And if you have a pen that fits, I like to use, just to get that paper bent in there. Then you can take your glue again, go right up to the edge, and push it in just a little. So you see that dent? And then smooth it down on this side. I don't know if you can see it better like this. Kind of goes into that edge. If you have a dent in there, be confident that you can do the other side the same way. So, okay, we're going to pretty much do what we did before when we did this part right here. Don't put glue here. Stop at the edge of the chipboard and kind of eyeball it and go up like this. And sometimes I'll go like this, get that paper started to bend. And now where those dents are will be a little bit different texture to it. Feeling it'll sort of be pokey-uppy. Don't worry about that, but kind of maybe want to squeeze them together. And push mostly in on the center, because now you want to do this again. Oh, that was already torn, but that won't show. You can bend the paper a little like that, or like that. On this side as well. We'll be covering that up so it won't show. We'll go on the side. Push it down. Bring this down. Concentrate on the center to get it smoothly down. Pinch these so it makes a fold in the top, a crease in the top. Make that bend right there. Pull this down. I like to push in on that indent a little. Like this. So it kind of looks like that. Let's see. You can open it all the way up. It looks great on both sides. There, so that's what I like. I like to do it that way. that worked. Putting the iron on it smoothed it out quite a bit. So that makes me happy. Okay, we have some green gingham ribbon to put on now. We want two, so I'm just going to cut both of them. This ribbon's 3/8. 3/8 inch gingham ribbon. And I'm going to put it over the edge of this, right on the other ribbon. No, I'm going to put it half on, half off. So I'm going to take my score tape again, half on, half off. On the back, same thing. Peel it off. Put this directly over the score tape. Line it up with your pattern just to make sure you got it straight. And the same on the other side. There. Now, I'm going to put one more thing on before we move on. We're going to take this piece, cut this piece right off this sheet of paper, right down where the scallop on the blue ends. I'm going to cut that right off. I need 2 of those. These will go like this. Or you can overlap them if you want. Okay, I'm going to go right up to that on this pattern, white line here. So that's in 3/8. So I'll do that on this side as well, which is down the center of that white flower. And I'm going to use glue. Do the other side. Make sure it goes the opposite way, facing each other. 3/8 inch. Then we'll just fold it down on this side. There. This is the cover. This is as far as we're going to go for right now. But you want to decide now which one's going to be the front, which one's going to be the back. Well, I like them both, except my wrinkly ribbon. So I'll put that on the back. So this will be my front. And I can mark it if I want to make sure I remember. Now we're going to make the hinges that hold the pages into the book. I use Kathy Order's hidden hinge system. I only changed the depth of the gussets to accommodate my pages. This is a 9 by 9 inch square piece of black cardstock, the same cardstock you're going to be using for the pages inside. I cut a piece of Tyvek, a 1/4 inch smaller, so 8 3/4 by 8 3/4. I spray the Tyvek, I attach it on here with Aleene's Crystal Clear Acid-Free Tacky Spray Glue, and then I smooth it out, put it on. Okay, we're going to start making your first score line at 2 1/2. Then first page, so it's a 1/2 inch at 3 and 3 1/2. Then we've got a 4 inch score, and a 1/2 inch, 4 1/2, 5, then at 5 1/2, that's 6, and 6 1/2. You can go on the back and do it again. Okay. I just put score tape along the fold line. Peel it off. Stick it down. So this one that I skipped will be the gusset, and this will be the next hinge. So you want to make sure you fold it that way. So skip one. This is the last page hinge. Three pages, 3-page hinges with 1/2 inch gussets in between. Take our cover again. This is how we'll put it on. And I won't clip these diagonally, just leave them straight, but I have a little score tape sticking out here. I don't want that, so I'm cutting that off. Okay, I'm going to put glue on the spine area. I'm going to stick this loose piece down from that ribbon because we want it all to adhere and not move around. I'll put this here so I can tell how high to go. And you don't want to go all the way up this time. You want to go down maybe a 1/4 inch from here, because you don't want the glue to seep out too much when you start pushing it around. Same idea, keep it close to the edge. And then I want all those hinges to be held down tight. So I'm going to put quite a bit of glue on. And I'm going to take my spreader outer thingy. It's an old credit card. I'm just going to spread it around. Pull it down from here inwards, because you don't want too much glue to be seeping out the top. Same here. Move it this way a little. If you think you want more glue, go ahead and put it there, especially in this middle part. Like that. Now you can take your hinges, wipe your excess glue off there. And your first hinge you're going to want to be 3/4 of an inch in from where the cover folds up from the indent. So there's 3/4, and I'll move the hinge right up to that. Give it about a 1/4 inch up here and here, but mostly you're just trying to make it even. See, this is where the glue would seep out if you had too much up here. You'd push like this and it would come out, and you don't really want that. You can check to make sure it's straight. Okay, it's much straighter than I thought. If you want to use your brayer, you can. And use your bone folder too. Get that glue spread everywhere. And just like we did on the cover, we're going to do here as well. This will be a little tighter because of the Tyvek. It won't bend as easily. We'll let that dry a little bit. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, we'll let it set just a little bit before we start to close it, because as soon as you do with that glue wet, it'll move things around. And we're going to try folding it. Hold it down first to ease it up a little. Then I'm going to move these around, loosen them up a little. It's good they're tight. That means it's tight onto the back. And I'm going to fold this all the way over carefully at first. Same with this side. There. It's good. This will loosen up, and when you get weight on it, it won't spring out like that as much. You can work it a little bit. But usually by the time I'm done, I never have that issue. But we'll put it aside for now. Now I'm going to show you how to cut out these corner pieces from the Spellbinder's Garden Weave die. Need your cutting machine, some black cardstock, wax paper. This die needs this wax paper. I've never been able to get it out without it. So you'll layer the cardstock, wax paper, and the die. See how well it cuts. It looks good, but I'm going to go through one more time on this end with a shim, just to be sure. It's just a piece of paper for a shim. So far, so good. Poke out all the pieces. Then you find that the ones, this one, see this right here? Push that one up and get your point. Any pokey tool will work. Ease that up. Just slide it in there. Help yourself out by loosening up some more of the die. And if you get under the wax paper, it's even better. Just slide it down at an angle to loosen that up. Even with the wax paper, it's in there tight. Once you get it going, just have to be careful of the thin areas. Pull it out. Pulling on the wax paper. Then it gets thin up here, so we'll get under that wax paper and just run the pointy tool under there. And there you have it. Sometimes the wax paper will stick on, and I'll just take a brush, clean it up. A stiff brush works best, so it looks the way you want. Okay, you need 14 of these, so you have to do this 13 more times. Now I'll demonstrate how to cut some of the border pieces. I'll just do one. It'll give you a good idea and you'll be able to do the rest. I use the Scallop Borders 2 from Spellbinders. I chose these two pieces. It's the scallopy top with little dots, and this one has sort of a fleur-de-lis right there. And this is your first pocket you'll need. It's one of the pieces you cut that is 6 inches by 4.5 inches. I don't need wax paper for these dies. They work better than the other. Put them together and sort of center them. This piece, you really don't need to measure the side, you can just see. Some of them are longer, some of the pieces are longer, so you'll want to check to see that it's in the center. And then you measure down right at this notch. Am I in the right spot? From the top of the paper to that notch is 5/8. 5/8 over here and 5/8. But you get the idea, you want it to be the same. And Post-it notes help a lot. Go on the paper, across the die, and onto the paper again. They hold it in place. Run it through the machine. It looks good. Then you poke out all the pieces. There. Now for all of, I marked it on that, oh wait, these little holes need help. We'll poke them all out. I won't show you the whole thing, but it makes a difference when they're poked. You can see the paper behind it just better. When they're not poked, then you get some that aren't. I don't know if you can see that. So I won't poke them all right now. But what I was going to say was I have that list for you that you can pause and write down the sizes of the pieces I want you to cut with the borders. And it's always on the long side when you do them. I don't have a border on a short side. It's always on the long. So go ahead and cut all the ones I have indicated for you to cut. When you get to the pieces that require a border that are longer than the die, see, this one fits on this way, but it has these extra pieces. There's two things you can do. One is reline up the die again from the end, 1/8 of an inch. And then try to measure down from the top of the paper the 5/8, and then just run it through up to this point. I've already cut this out, but you can see what it looks like. And the other side would be the same. Same idea. Or you can just have it, it would just be black, and you like cut it off straight. So here's one I didn't cut all the way. This is the top of the waterfall, which all you have to do is a slight angle right to where the die left off. Cut a slight angle, and just try to match it. So that would be how that would look. Either way, this one would be stronger, of course, than this. This one will be folded, scored and folded. And there's one piece that's an inverse of the others. To do that, you simply clean up your die so that it cuts good next time. Reverse the top and the bottom so it's like this. You can do it this way if it's easier for you to measure. Center it. Make sure it's even. That works out to be 5/8 that way. A little bit less than 5/8. Okay, centered. But it's not centered this way. Feel good about where it's located. Hold it down. So there, it will look like that after it's poked out. You only need one of those, unless you want to do more. But you get the idea. Now we're going to do page 1. You'll need these 3 that you should have already cut out. A 9x7 inch piece, that's your page. The 9x6.5 inch piece, which you should have scored at a 1/2 inch in on one side, so it's 6 inches to the score line, or a 1/2 inch to the score line, but we'll be putting it on like this. And the next piece is 7.5 by 6 inches, and this should have 2 scores on it. Score in a 1/2 inch and then 3/4 inches. So go ahead and fold that. 1/2 inch piece, and then the 1/4 inch. So it looks like this. I'm going to flatten it out again. I'm going to put glue or tape, whichever you choose, on here, a little bit away from the score line, but close. I'm going to put it up to, you want to glue this page up to the score line in the center. So equally from here to here. Just eyeball it, doesn't have to be perfect. And so that 1/4 inch will be sticking up like this when you fold it over. And on this side, this one, you're going to fold that with glue. Be easy with the glue, not too much. That's when you get warped pages, when you have too much glue. This one you want to put right up. To the fold line. So you have something like this. Go like that in the end. And you want 2 lengths of gingham ribbon of your choice. I chose red. It's about 15 inches long. And you want to center these. You want to flip this over so you're on the back. And on this side, find the center of 9 would be 4 1/2. Mark it so you know where it is. Put some glue. And then you want to put another one over here. If you're bad with numbers, line it up with this one, because that's what you're going to have these tie together. So make a mark and then put your glue. These will tie. You'll be able to tie it together. Okay. Now we're going to want to do this side. And you want to take, got your 3 pockets. One should be, this was the 5 1/2 by 6 that you cut with the border, so afterwards it's closer, a little less than 5 1/2 this way. And it's got 2 score lines, 3/8 inch on one side and on the other side. This one is 4 3/8 after it's cut by 6. We haven't scored that one yet. And I had the wrong piece, so I got the right piece. This has got the wrong score marks on it. You want these to be scored in 3/8 of an inch. This one is, it measures 2 7/8 after it's cut with the border. Okay, you want to take the medium-sized one first. And I forgot to score it. So I want to put it 3/8 of an inch in. 3/8 in. Double check. Yep. No, actually I only did 1/4 on this side. And it should have been 3/8. That's all right, I erred on the preferred edge. Okay. Fold them. On the rough side of your die cut. Leave the smooth side for the other. This is going to go here. So you want to glue here, here, and here. Go right to the edges. Go straight on there. First pocket. I'm going to do the same with this. Check it to make sure it fits. Put the glue on the same way. Wrong glue. And the last pocket the same. This will go here. Like that. I forgot in the original album I cut this hole, cut this corner. And these corners. So they look like that. Now we need to put this piece in here. It was your 2 by 10 inch piece that you cut. And you scored the short ends a 1/2 inch in. And then I lost my punch, Martha Stewart punch, cut all along one edge. You fold that in. I'm going to do the glue. Keep grabbing the wrong one. Put it here, up to that end of the page. There's a pocket. So this page is complete for now. There's more to do after you get your paper on, your decorative paper on. We'll put that aside for now. For page 2, you're going to need another 9 by 7 piece of 5 by 7, 5.5 by 7.5 piece, a 4.5 by 6.5 inch piece, and this one is 7 by 4.5 with a score line at 3/8 and a 1/2 inch, and one small border piece that was 1 3/4 by 5.5, scored a 1/2 inch on each of the short ends. First we'll start on this little booklet. I'm going to fold at the score lines. That 1/8 inch part is always a little tricky. But I have that so that when you're building up the paper, because you'll have layers of paper on this, and it's also going to slide behind. These are going to go together like this. This will be attached down, and we're going to slide it behind here. I'll put it together first. Put glue. Right up to the fold line. So it will be like that. Then we want this decorative piece, fold the 1/2 inches in, 1/2 inch sides in, 1/2 inch score line on the short sides in. Make sure it fits. Put glue on there. Press down better if you open it up and flatten it out, because that 1/8 inch side sticks up. All right, we'll put on our magnets. I use these disc magnets. I get them on eBay. So you need 3 for this part. You'll need 6 altogether. We're gonna just eyeball it and put just below where you've got the paper glued on. Have one magnet and the other just kind of there. Use glossy accents. You don't need a lot. Now, find the center of 4.5, which would be 2 1/4. And mark it, and then glue. Glue it down. And on the top part, we're going to do the same thing with the scrap piece. 1 inch by 2 inches scored in the middle. glue on one side. The top part with the decorative piece. Match it up with the one on the bottom so it's in the same place. Have it 1/8 of an inch over the top. Need another magnet. Glossy accents. Glue. Now these will hold together. Now take your 9 by 7 inch piece, the page, and center your booklet on it, putting the back edge of the decorated side of the booklet on the edge of the paper. Pull it so you can pick it up, turn it over without letting anything move. And you want 2 more magnets. I'm going to let the magnets find the other magnets. And we're going to glue them right there. Flying magnet. There, that'll hold that in place. Now take your pieces, the 5.5 by 7.5 inch piece, the booklet and the back, and put them aside. Find your pieces that are 5 inches wide by 1 inch wide. You should have 6 of them. I've already glued 3 together. I want you to stack them up in 3s. This has 3 here. I've glued 2 together. I'm going to put the last piece on. So we have 2 stacks of 3. Go put that with your page 2. For page 3, you need your 9 by 7 inch page, a 9 by 6.5 inch piece that you've scored down the middle, a 6.5 by 5 inch piece that's been scored in 3/8 of an inch and then at 1/2 an inch. You need this decorative border that measures 1 5/8 by 5.5 and has been scored 1/2 inch in on each side. I already applied this pocket with the border that is 2 7/8 by 5.5. It was scored 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay. You want to fold this pocket so it folds inward. And fold on the score lines of the 6.5 by 5 inch piece. So you have that 8 inch space. You're going to want to glue this onto here. to the fold. So you have another booklet. It will fold like this. That will go on like that. You need to put this decorative piece on the top. And you can put that aside for now. Go on to page 5. We need another 9 by 7 inch piece, a 6 by 7.5 inch piece that is scored a 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch, a 4 by 9 inch piece that is scored 3/8 and then 4/8, a half. A 6.5 by 9 inch piece that is scored at a 1/2 inch. Then we have the border cut pieces, the long 5.5 by 8 inch, scored at a 1/2 inch on each side, the 2 7/8 by 6 inch, scored 3/8 inch on each side, a 4 3/8 by 6 inch, scored 3/8 inch on each side, a 5 3/8 by 6 inch, scored 3/8 inch on each side. The 6 by 7.5, the 5 3/8 border piece by 6, the 4 3/8 by 6 inch border piece, and the 2 7/8 by 6 inch border piece. We've done this before on page 1, so I want you to do that again. Just like in page 1, you want to glue the front pocket on, the medium-sized pocket on the front, the large-sized pocket, and on top of that, the smaller-sized pocket. And put that aside. Then you're going to take the large die-cut piece, fold in the sides, and glue that on the big 9 by 7 inch piece. Take the 4 by 9 inch piece, score it so that you have that 1/8 of an inch fold, and cut the opposite end with your Martha Stewart border punch. So it looks like this. Then you want to glue this piece onto that page up to the first fold. So that you have that 1/8 of an inch part up. Then you want to put this part centered on that page. So hope your glue holds. If you're not in a rush, it usually does. Going to put glue on here. Center it just like we did with page 1. So it works like that. Then you want to take your 6.5 by 9 inch page that's scored at a 1/2 inch, fold that, put that on the other side. Now we're going to worry about magnets over here. We need it to come down far enough under the paper that's going to cover here. So about a 1/2 inch down. And of course it can't be on the scalloped border there. So right around here. I'll move it over actually. I'll measure it about 2 3/4 from the edge. Mark it. Glue. Magnet. That way it won't show when the paper's there. And I like to take some scrap paper at this point. It makes it easier in the long run. Put it over that. Get my magnet. Let it find the other magnet. Put some glue on this side. And then just fold this down, making sure this side isn't too far over. Hold my finger on it for a minute. Then you can pull up on the paper and hope the other magnet sticks so that this magnet and this magnet will still match up. Okay, we might as well move on. On to ribbon. So we want this to be centered here. Half 9 is 4 1/2. Put some glue. The ribbon. And just like we did before, I'm going to match it up with this ribbon. Pocket's in the way a little bit, but we can slide the ribbon under that. That matches up. And we'll be able to tie it. Okay, that's as far as you go with this one for now. Okay, we're going to do page 6. You need a bordered piece that's 1 5/8 by 5 1/2, scored a 1/2 inch on each side. Your inverse piece that you cut, which measures 1 5/8 by 5 1/2, scored a 1/2 inch on each side. 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, 6 1/2 by 9, scored down the center, which would be 4 1/2 inches. 4 3/4 by 9 inches, scored at a 1/2 inch and 5/8. 5 1/2 by 7 1/2 and 9 by 7. You can put the 5 1/2 by 7 1/2 inches aside. Take your 4 3/4 by 9 inch piece and fold at the score lines. You're going to glue this on like this. But first, you want your punch. You're going to punch down the edge. After your piece is punched, go ahead and glue it on. Now take your 6 1/2 by 9 inch piece and fold it down the score line in the middle. And take your 2 by 1 inch piece and fold that on the score line in the middle. This is going to go on here like this. And we're going to take this piece and we're only going to put glue on one side. We're going to center it. Centered. Have it stick out about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to leave that up for now. Now we're going to put on magnets. Mark where your magnets, or put your magnet on this, down about 1/2 inch from the edge of the paper. And we want our scrap piece of paper again to put on this side. Let the magnet find the other magnet. A little glossy accents on this side. And close the booklet so it glues on there. I'm actually going to keep this in here because the glue isn't quite dry. Okay, go ahead and put on the decorated border top on the folded part and on the other 4.5 by 6 inch piece. Put it on there. And you can put these aside along with your 5.5 by 7.5 inch piece. For the inside back cover, you need another 9 by 7 piece, the 8 by 6 5/8 piece, the border cut 2 7/8 by 7 inch piece that's been scored 1/4 inch on each side, border cut that's 5.5 by 6 5/8, scored at 1/4 and 3/4. The 5 3/4 piece by 6 5/8, 5 3/4 by 6 5/8, scored at 1/4 and 3/4. You need 7 6.5 by 5 piece, scored at 1/2 inch on one side. 7 of those. So we'll start, put aside the 9 by 7, we'll start with the 8 by 6 5/8 piece. And you want your border piece, cut piece, 5.5 by 6 5/8, fold on the score lines, and you're going to glue this onto the top of here. And the 5 3/4 by 6 5/8 piece, you're going to glue on the bottom. You're going to take the other decorated border edge, fold in the 1/4 inch sides, and you're going to glue that up here to the first fold. Now, take one of the 6.5 by 5 inch pieces and fold it on the fold. Take the next one and just stick it underneath so that it folds over the top. Then you're going to want to glue that folded down on there. And you're going to want to put glue on this, close to the top, and close to the lower fold Put it right up to the second fold, centered. So it's like a 1/16 of an inch on each side. Check down here to see if it's straight. 1/16 inch. Even. Give it a little time. I'm rushing for the video's sake, but then you fold it up like this. And do the next one. Just butt it up to the last one. Can go under just a little, but not much. Make sure that's even on both sides, 1/16 of an inch and straight. And then you're going to want to do that all the way down with the rest of the pieces. Okay, I got all 7 pieces on. The waterfall should work like this now. Okay, close like this. All right, we're going to close it the way we want it to go. And we're going to make where you'd like it to have it closed when it's finished. And I want you to make 2 marks right next to the top of the fleur-de-lis, through the holes, through these holes, right there and there, onto the bottom of the wallet door there. That's where you'll know where to put your magnet. Above your marks, about 1/8 of an inch, put some glue. And this is where I use a large magnet, because of all these, the waterfall is, all of the pages, it gets heavier. So I use a big magnet. Scrap piece of paper. Let the magnets find each other. And make sure the cover closes the way you want and the way it sits is right. Hold your finger there. This might show because of the big magnet. But that's all right. We'll put a ribbon there to help it open so you're not pulling on the delicate border. And go ahead, put these 2 aside. Next, we're going to be using the patterned paper. I did things differently on this album than I did with my original. On the original, I used some 8x8 paper pad. I didn't on this album. I recommend you start with the large pieces. Start cutting your 9x7 inch patterned paper pieces first, and then work down to the 5.5 by 7 inch pieces, and then to the 4.5 by 6.5 inch pieces. And that way you'll be able to utilize the paper pad the best. Now we're going to get into decorating the inside with our patterned papers. And you'll need to make some flowers. I'm going to put a link to where you can learn to make them from the Heartfelt Creations website. The only difference I did was for the centers on the inside is I used Perfect Pearls buttercream color on a yellow piece of cardstock. I just swirled it on in about the right size and let it dry, and then you can just cut it out. You can cut right onto the Perfect Pearls too. It cuts fine. Then glue them into the center of your flowers. That's only for the inside flowers. The cover flowers I used chipboard from the collection. And this is the inside front cover. The only thing I do is I take my pattern paper and I cut them all a 1/4 inch smaller than the outside paper. So if this is 9 by 7, this is 8 3/4 by 6 3/4. Same with the photo mats. So go ahead and glue those on. After you have your papers glued on, center the 5 by 7 inch photo mat. Now you're going to put these one here, one here. If you have one of these handy dandy nifty fine point tips, it's great. If you don't, a dab of glue and a toothpick will do the job. I just run around the edges with the glue. And you want to put it down, a 1/4 inch away from the edge of the paper. And do the other one the same. After you have these pieces glued on, you can start to put embellishments on. I use wax paper. I slide it so it will protect the photo mat where you don't want anything to adhere. You decide about where you want your chipboard piece to go. So it gives you an idea where to put glue. Then you put glue in that area. It's okay if it it's okay if it goes off the edges a little because the wax paper's there. And the same with the flower on the bottom. And of course, you don't care if there's a lot of glue on the red part, this part, because the picture won't be going there. Don't let it sit there too long because you can actually glue your wax paper there. So move it around a little just so it doesn't adhere. Move it around like that and wait for your glue to dry. Okay, you take your wax paper out. You can see that you can still get your paper, your picture underneath there. Stick tags in that you want to leave in. But for the next pages, don't put your flowers on till after you get your pages in the book. It'll just make it easier for when you're gluing it in. This page, it's okay if you've already done this. This will be no big deal putting this one in. Now, we'll move on to the next part, page 1. I've already put the pattern papers on. These are some of the embellishments you'll want. But I wanted to show you for the little booklet, which is one of the 9 by 6.5 inch black cardstock you cut out and scored down the middle. This is just the pattern paper put on. I saved this part because this is where I've used some scraps and done some tricky things. Find some scraps you like that you know will fit on. See, this is wider than. Line them up the way you like and, check that when you cut it, it will fit. your Post-it notes out again. Line the edges of the paper up the way you like them. Put your Post-it note on to hold it. And you can turn it over. Get your score tape and run along the seams where the paper is joined together. Then you can cut it. Now you know you want one side straight. Just cut through everything. And you know you have a 4.5 by 6.5 inch piece to cover. You can take the Post-it note off. So you'll want to make this 4.25. I think I'd like to cut some of this top off. And I want this to be 6.25. And then it will fit on beautifully. And for these booklets, there's several places you're going to want to use this. You'll be able to see later on. You want to take off your score tape here. And you have your 1 inch by 2 inch piece scored down the middle. And you have your embellishment that you're going to want to go on the top. So you want to put glue on one side of this, all the way up to the fold. And center it with 1/8 of an inch above the paper. Now it's important you got glue all the way up to the fold for this part, because when you fold this down you want it to grab right there, right at that 1/8 of an inch. That will keep this from popping up like this. Then you can go ahead and apply this to your cover of your booklet. See, that's not popping up now. Now this is going to go right here, and obviously it sticks out at the bottom. So just cut it off so it's short enough so it doesn't stick out at the bottom. You won't see that part. If you're afraid, you can reuse this wax paper again and again, these pieces. If you're afraid you'll get glue over the edge, put this where you like it. No glue came out, so I'm pretty sure it won't stick together. But that way you can get your picture up under there. This booklet is done. And you can fussy cut things like your little chicken, put it here. Here's the 4.5 by 6 inch piece that I covered. Now we're going to do this page. These are your 4.5 by 4.5 inch pieces. And you need to clip the corners, all 4 corners. I've done all of them, except these. This one's done. Do your blue pieces as well. Glue the blue pieces on. The top one, just go ahead and glue that down. the bottom one, you're going to want to leave space so the other picture can tuck in. So you don't want to put glue right in this area. You want to put it down here, down here, down here, but leave that area. So just know that when you turn it, it's this area on this side. Then you'll be able to put things in there. If you want it to go deeper, of course, put the tag down deeper, you can leave the glue off further down. Now, for these parts, for these pages with the two 4x4-inch photo mats, I put these borders on all the way over to the black. And because we cut the corners off, you have to cut the corner off this little border thing. You can do that just a little, like that. The black on the black, it won't show. Go ahead and glue those down. And that page is done. Okay, here's your pieces for page 2. I wanted to show you that these 4x6 pieces that you cut out of the collection are too small for the 4.5 by 6.5 inch pieces. So I mat them. I cut a 4.5 by 6.5 inch piece and then put this on top. And also, you might have to cut them a little smaller when they have these border pieces because of the glue at the bottom. But as long as you check it before you put glue on it to see that it fits the way you like it, go ahead and put your glue on. And glue the next part. Now, you know you want this to go behind this. So we're going to let it fall on the magnets that are covered up. They're behind here. So let this find those magnets. Put this on top. Center it on the page. And you know that these magnets are high enough up so they'll catch each other. That's how you want it to look in the end. So make a mark. And you can take these off. Take your stacked up pieces and you know that you want this above that mark. Just maybe 1/4 inch, 1/8 to 1/4 inch. And glue them on in the center. You can double check to make sure it won't show. It doesn't show. Then you can glue this onto those pieces. Don't put down the middle. Actually, it's even better if you want to put this in there when you do it. That way it'll glue up so you can get this out, in and out easier. Then you can put your corner pieces on. Yeah, it'll stick up a little, but they still work. Voila. Now, when you start putting your chipboard on, you don't have to do it now, but this will go here and there'll be a flower here. Save these little pieces, these little holes, save them. Because on the cover there's one little flower and they make a great center for that little flower. You'll glue those on. Here's page 3. For this page we have a ribbon holding it closed. 15-inch piece of green ribbon. I just center this on here. And on the back. And then glue where the ribbon's going to go. Then glue it down. So you'll be able to tie it closed. This opens like this. Here's the cover. With a smaller piece inside. And that page is done. Here's page 5. Just gotten the embellishment ready. I'm not putting it on yet. I tied a little piece of blue. This booklet was put on the same way we did the first booklet. Pull out tag here. You can put whatever you like in the smaller pocket. Put the embellishment flourish die on here. We once again have that page. I've covered up this and put this piece of chipboard here. Makes it easy to open and you're not pulling on the delicate paper there. You can cut this out, fussy cut it, put here, or put this here like this. Your tags. And that page is done. Here's page 6. With this booklet here, we want to put a ribbon on here. So I cut a 24-inch piece of ribbon and tie a bow. Then, I usually put some glue so that the bow doesn't come untied inside the knot there. So it can't be seen, but it holds it there. I also like to put some glue right up here to keep the ribbon from moving around. And you put this on, you're going to do the same thing. with the glue and hold this down if you want to trim it. Run your nail around the edge of the paper to get this down tight. Form a crease so that the part that sticks out is glued together. There's that. And this page is done. Here's the inside back cover with the waterfall. Go ahead and put your papers on the cover here. These are my embellishment bits. Don't forget to trim these corners. I didn't mention it before, but all the lower corners, use your punch to cut them. And on your pattern paper that you're going to have on the top, just punch the two lower corners. And then you can glue them on. Now, shouldn't have glued this part on yet, inside the pocket, because we want to put this ribbon on. So we want glossy accents because of the magnet. Just put some glue there. Put this ribbon so it goes right up the middle, over the top of the magnet. Doesn't stick to your finger. Then you can slide this in. And the magnet is covered. Turn it over and put some glue up here. Glue the other end of the ribbon down. That way when you pull up, you're not pulling on the delicate paper. All these pages covered. You have a pocket for some journaling. This comes down over the top. You can put your embellishment on. I pre-tied a little bow. We'll put that on now. Put the little bow down here. There. We're going to wait to put the waterfall on. Well, here's some little pieces. You can put up here, little journaling spot. These were just cut from the paper collection. I don't want to pull on this. Oh, I lost the ribbon. See, it's better to wait for it to dry. Now we're going to start putting the pages in the book. Get page 1, take out all the tags. Well, they can leave that one. It won't hurt anything. We're going to want this to go. here. I'm going to put the inner pages in first because that way we can smooth it out as flat as we can without it being inhibited by any of the inside cover things. So I just run a glue around here, right down about 1/8 of an inch below the top of the hinge. Put this on so it's about 1/8 of an inch away from the bottom of the hinge. And yeah, you got to press it and hold it for a bit. Do the same for the next page. Only you're going to want to attach this all on. And go on to the next one. And so on. Okay, you got your pages on. We're going to do the inside back cover. Then we'll put on the waterfall. Just center it where you like. Press it down, and I open it up so I can get it pressed down easier. That looks good. We'll do the inside front cover to glue and glue it on. And you're ready to tie up your ribbons, add more embellishments wherever you like. I won't do that with you. I'll let you do that on your own. And we'll move on to the front cover. Okay, I've been playing around, see where I want things to go. This is pretty much the same way I did the original album. And that's what you should do. Just find the elements you want to put on, play around, see how it would fit. Find some scrap pieces, try different things. The last album I had a piece of blue going down here too, but I don't think I'll put that on this time. So go ahead, play around. You can use my cover as a suggestion. And as well, the inside page is the same, and you can make it your own by doing some things differently. I wanted to mention that I mounted this particular picture on this piece of red cardstock. The picture is 4 by 6, so this is a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and that's how I got this look. There it is. Here's the finished cover. Looks very much the same as the other one. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it helped you to create your own album. I hope you had a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it for you. Thanks so much for watching.